Good evening. Alright, well, it is time to continue work. Oh no, my license for free software. Microsoft, why? Alright. Alright. So what I need to do today is I need to create or get started creating all the missions. The first thing is going to be I need categories for all the missions and kind of a good layout for them. Alright, so what kind of missions have we got going on that we can do? Oh man. Well, I'll be right back. So if we need lots of missions, I'm going to need to make lots of missions. So what can we currently do? What are some things? Yeah, that's what I should probably do, is I should get a list of things that we can do, and then a kind of combine the things together. So let's see. Mission categories. So maybe we should organize these by what we can do in activities. We can score goals. We can prevent goals from being scored. We can beat the hell out of other Dashkin. So what else can we do? We can score goals, prevent goals from being scored. We can beat people up. We can collect objects. We can perform certain actions, such as jump, like wall jump, etc. And let's see, mission activities, and what's a good, I'm trying to think up a term for, I guess, mission modifiers. Be a good one. We can change character movement speeds. We can change ball movement speeds. We can change the size, ball / character. We can change the time of day. Let's see, what else can we do with the mission modifiers? We can change character abilities, such as air jumps, hitting walls, etc. Let's see, we can spawn in bots, friendly and otherwise. Because I need to think about things we can do right now, because I need to actually make these missions. Otherwise, it'd be like, oh, we could spawn in all sorts of stuff, like if you punch the ball The ball explodes after 5 punches or something like that. We have ball hits, right? That's a thing. You should open up my enums. Where are our stats? I'm gonna organize this a little bit while I'm here. Just kind of thinking. And I need to make sure that I take into account how much time I actually have to physically create the missions once I get a list. Because if the update goes up on Friday, I need everything done on Thursday before the update. And tested, right? So are we going to test 100 missions? Probably not, right? So I kind of have to have everything done Wednesday. And Wednesday's tomorrow. And tomorrow starts in an hour. So basically, this boils down to 24 hours or so, make as many missions as possible. And I am exhausted right now because I worked like 16 hours yesterday on all this stuff. And then the Cavs lost, which was okay, because it's a good game. But whatever. So what stats? So you score goals, prevent goals, beat the hell, collect objects, perform certain actions. Let's see, we have punches, own goals, goals, assists. Assists. Is there any way that assists is? I'm trying to think. Like assists, yeah, assists are it's too fast. We can't really do that. So what other actions do we actually have? We have collect objects, we have get to certain locations, perhaps, but there's not that many locations to get to. Trying to think. Like, if we had a platforming game that was just platforming, like, if we had bots that just didn't do much except, like, stand around on a platform and punch people, then we could do things. You know, like introduce some health mechanic or something. Because we don't have any stats tracked for us getting hit, so I can't really do too much with that. So what's going to do? We can score goals, prevent goals, punch people, we can collect objects, perform actions, get to a location, could be wall jump up. Yeah, that's kind of the whole perform certain actions. And the same with collection, like get to a certain thing is already covered. It's like, eh. Are there any interesting other things? I mean, there's interesting ideas, but they all require level changes. They like make it so you can only crawl, and then have like little logs that you can crawl into, and then the bots can't get in there to get you. That would be so fucking funny. Let me see trying to think. Are there any other actions? Like we have a ball. We can get the ball somewhere. So I guess ball control is a mission activity, such as precision ball control. Like you have to do the whole thing. That works. Perform certain actions. There's a lot mesh. There's a lot mesh. It's just a pillar of salt. Alright, so precision ball control, basically we have to, it kind of combines, like we don't have getting somewhere here, but precision ball control is basically getting a ball or yourself somewhere. Now we can combine a few of these rules, right? Like we can reset players when the ball is scored. So if we put goals everywhere for the other team, we'd be reset all the time. Let me think. I mean, that'd be like a game mode where you send balls to the other court in the background. That'd be interesting. We haven't really explored that idea too much, is the sending balls back and forth in kind of a attack defense mode. You score a ball and it spawns 2 balls on the other side. The balls are bombs. They blow up after a certain amount of time. Standard matches, scoring challenges, collect objects, Are there any other mission activities? Because I'm trying to make a grab bag. Reset other players at the end of the map by scoring goals on them? Yeah. Be more fun in a multiplayer setting than single player. Alright, so let's think. Punch people. We can avoid bots, but bots aren't hard to avoid. So let me see, like, is there some sort of a avoidance scenario I could think? Like, how would we make an avoidance map where you have to keep away from the bots? Basically, what I'd have to do would be... Well, the thing is, with bots and the rest, we can change the speed of your character, so like maybe you have a wall jump or an air jump and they don't, or they have air jumps and that would make it so they could actually get to you. And we could also add some geometry in the level to make it so they can get places, you know, like some one-way platforms, but not sure. I don't know if agent avoidance would work. Well, the bots are pretty stupid, so, I mean, the problem would be, the golden path for beating the bots would be just jump over in the corner and do your little wall jump in the corner for 30 seconds and you win. And that's not really compelling. Well, there's also another mission modifier is the difficulty of bots and the violence of bots. So kind of throw those in here. I'm not getting a super good idea about avoiding agents. I mean, the only thing for avoidance to be we need a different sort of character for avoidance to work properly. You know, like a mosquito sort of enemy that comes up, telegraphs an attack, and comes after you. You know, like swarm of gnats or bees or whatever the hell. But that's new content. I can't do that today. So I don't know. Agent avoidance. I'm not seeing a path for it. Let me see. We can load and unload sublevels, but that's not super crazy. Yeah, so I don't think agent avoidance works too well. So are there other activities? We can have winning in a row, but that's still just scoring goals. Preventing goals from being scored, that works. What other mission modifiers do we have? Let me just pull up the... We have ball damping and scale, stun immunity, team indicators, and player gravity, run speed changes, air stomps, switching teams. No. And the ball stick stuff, I don't think a mission with that's going to be very compelling. It's kind of not a... Crawling, no. Stealth doesn't really work. We need people to find you, and other things wouldn't really work. Let me think. Is there some sort of avoiding doing something to somebody else, such as don't be violent? And it's difficult to not be violent? So, what would that be? Because if we took pop-up out, right, so you had to use punches and kicks and crap like that in order to win. But if you hit somebody, I guess that's another thing. A mission activity would be don't do certain action. Like don't hit the bot. So that would be interesting. Like we could have a bot that follows you around, because we already have a follow state for the bot. Just like turn that always on, and then he just like runs around after you, and if you punch him, you lose. Oh, that's true. Friendly fire could be a thing. Do we have friendly fire? Let me see. I think we do, right? Like we have can hit, punch switches team, slide switches team. Players can hit other team. Players can hit their team. We have this thing where you can only hit your friends. Oh, I'm trying to think. Well, that would be interesting. Like, turn it on its head. You can only hit your own team, and you have to allow the other people to score by keeping the bots off of them, or something. Like, you have to score a couple goals while protecting a bot. That would suck. Friendly fire might be good. So let's be friendly fire on. Just like the idea of an avoidance map, you have to run away from the AI, but they're only crouched. So they're just like crawling after you. And then, like, that would be interesting if they're crawling after you and crawling after the ball, and if they punch you, you lose. Alright, that's. I could see that as an avoidance mission. So if we gimp the agents really hard. Yeah. Well, the interesting thing about high-speed crouch is your crouch acceleration and movement control is basically pinpoint. So you stop on a dime when you're crouched. Alright, so let's also put together some maybe cool moments that we want missions to have. Alright, so cool moments. I want getting that perfect goal from half court. I want scoring a bunch of balls at once. Some cool moments. I'd also like a split-second perfect navigation of a run. So I memorized the level and all the things. I'd like a moment where a player slides under an object to get somewhere. So the cool thing about the slide is you can slide under shit, and that would be super cool to have some geometry in the level where, like, you're running and you slide under shit, you know, and it's super awesome. I would like wall jumping up a cliff with a ball while juggling a ball. I would like to wall jump rebound at max speed. Yeah, so, and I'd like a I'd like to collect objects by like wall jumping up them. So collect objects via super fast wall jump. Hello, Devil 23. I do sleep, sir, or madam. I guess the devil is probably a sir, but the also, you were the guy talking about the Celtics, right? Well, Cleveland got stomped again, so I guess you can come here and make fun of me for wanting the Cavs to win. But I just I operate on a non-standard schedule. So what are some other cool moments? I'd like to have another cool moment in the game is getting that perfect block on a shot going in. So kind of what I'm trying to do today is come up with a whole bunch of missions by coming up with basic categories of missions, activities, some modifiers, and then what I'll do to make all these missions is I'll try to come up with some themes for the categories and what cool moments I want to happen where, and then kind of all put that together into a, you know, that episode of South Park when they're talking about how Family Guy comes up with stories is just, you know, get the manatees and shake them together and pull a ball out. That's a good one. Getting a high altitude stomp off and on a ball, and getting a stomp off on a... Oh, that's something I hadn't thought about. If we do stomp switches teams, but we only have stomp switches teams on for one team, you could get everybody on your team. So I guess that's an activity we might experiment with, which is switching agents to your team. Well, at Double 23, I have inspired you. You'll be making a game on Twitch. It will be a piece of shit, but it'll be fun to make. Sometimes those, games like that are really stupid and awful and quickly done, sometimes those are the best. Like, hack day projects, like, and stupid crap like that. There's a certain charm that gets lost when everything's over-engineered. You may or may not have watched the game in a bar. I'm not drunk, you're drunk. Yeah, exactly. I was sober for that one, and I woke up just for the game. And after the first half, I was like, "Oh man, LeBron's kicking ass," and then he got knocked in the jaw by Tatum or whatever, and he basically just quit. He just like, fuck this, just went back to the locker room, came out, and phoned it in for the rest of the game. But he might have looked like a hard hit, so that's how it goes. But that's basketball. Under the basket, you get messed up. That's part of the game. Yeah, that was the thing. Like when J.R. Smith just like, when he shoved that guy and everybody started to chant, F you, JR, I was chanting too. I was like, man, J.R. Smith, the man can't even find a shirt. Maybe the guys who are uninspired. Yeah, there was definitely that moment when like LeBron and Kevin Love were sitting there. Just so many moments where they passed it to some, Celtics player, totally open for a 3-point shot off of, doing the merry-go-round with the defenders, and nobody goes to try to block the shot. They just kind of like, well, just go ahead and shoot it. You're probably gonna miss. It was just like, fuck, get over there. The tree rots from the root. Yeah, it's true. All right. Brad Stevens? I do not know a Brad Stevens. Let me see. Oh, he's the coach? Oh, cool. Yeah, I don't know too much about the coaches. Like we have one basketball coach here in Spokane, Mark Few for the Gonzaga Bulldogs. He's a real cool guy. But some coaches have got really cool personalities and very good stuff. So hopefully he's one of those guys. He's not like a Bobby Knight throwing a fucking chair across the entire arena. To if you don't know who he is, you should. Yeah, looks like the coach for the Celtics. Though I kind of, it sucks that Kyrie Irving was out because I'd like to see that game. He has zero personality. He's just like a piece of white bread. I'm just like, come on, man. You need some hot sauce. He's just like, no. I'm for ducks. He's the Zuckerbot of basketball. I need to grab a energy drink here. Gotta say, those Zuckerberg memes of him drinking water, I looked at way too many of those. Alright, so other cool moments that we want to make sure we include. So getting stomps off is really nice. Maybe there's cool moments here. Maybe I should go more back to basics of getting that first goal. Is a cool moment. Fuck Zuckerberg, by the way. Yeah, like, there's data collection is a problem. And it's a problem a lot of people don't really understand, which makes it even worse. Like for instance, one of the guys, I'm not gonna name names, but he works for a data collection and analysis company, and like just yesterday they had an issue where basically they have this password file with all the passwords for all the stuff for the infrastructure. So this is like the master mid-air combat. Yeah, punching somebody out of the air. And also doing like air juggling a ball with air jumps is super fun. Green clearly committed a flagrant 2. Which one was your query rant? I think you had a rant the other day about something. But they put the damned, like they had just like one password file with all the passwords for all the infrastructure. So think like all the keys to everything because it's used by all the services and servers, and you know, it was a startup company, so they didn't like set up their security right to start with. So I had a new employee, and he checked that password file into version control, which is a no-no. These are plain text passwords. You never put that in version control because then it's there forever, and you never know who'll get access to it at some point. But then that version control repo got merged into a public repo. So all their passwords for fucking everything, and they're, you know, data analysis company that has data that like people pay them lots of money to analyze that they don't want out there, you know, potentially private information, and then boom, all their passwords for all their shit go live and on like a GitHub repo, and you're just it's just like fuck, dude. You know, one, I'm glad you know about it and you fixed it. Two, what the fuck? You never store plain text passwords. Like you shouldn't be able to get your password. Anyway. My thing is, if you're solving algorithm problems and you're using someone else's framework, you are a pain in the butt. Yeah, if you're solving an algorithm problem, which most server problems are algorithm problems, like, so that's pretty much where I'm dealing with. That's where I lived professionally for the last 8 years. Was algorithm problems. And yeah, if you're using somebody else's, like that was one of my big issues I had with a lot of other engineers is they use open source frameworks and things that would hide all the complication behind like a database system or a search system or something else. And I'd be like, no, you need to use, there's a reason these things are complicated. You know, you have to understand what the hell you're doing with your data and your systems. Otherwise, you know, they're complicated because they need to be complicated. All right, so air juggling a ball with air jumps. Let me think. People using .NET to make one-line programs. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, links, sorry. That's true. Alright, so air juggling. Perfect block shot. Alright, what else do we do that's real fun? Getting a last second goal is really cool. It's kind of interesting. We have the whole concept of sudden death, but we don't have a concept of sudden death in the missions. We just have a concept of ranks and all that. A ball catch from long distance. Yeah, you brought up code fights, I remember. A ball catch from long distance. I'm trying to think about... So that's basically when the ball is coming in from some high altitude or something else, and you just... It's kind of a block, but it's more like good defense, like zone control with your balls. And that's more like a multi-ball sort of thing. So I guess getting a good stop on the ball, I think that's the moment. Yeah, the new program. You're saying like the guys they upvote like clever solutions to problems, and the thing is, clever solutions to programming problems are like the worst way to program. Like I don't want somebody on my team who makes really amazing one-liners. Like I don't care. I don't care how amazing your one-line solution to some shit is. I care if it works, it satisfies the requirements, and if there's a problem that either I can fix it or you fix it. Also, welcome, Lucas. It's times you're watching the indicator. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about with getting a good stop on the ball. Is like, you're right. You're like, I know exactly what's going to happen. I guess getting a rebound shot. So, a rebound from an overshoot. Not clever at all. I guess I already went through this in your chat. Yeah, well, I also rant a lot about clever people. Like, that was actually one of, when I was running the team at Amazon, our coding standards, number one, don't be clever. Number two, your code always sucks. It was actually really important. I made sure that everybody on the team referred to code in a derogatory manner, such as you never refer to your code as really good. You always say, like, it does the job. That way people would never get upset when somebody starts, like, giving their opinion on something, and they're like, oh, that isn't very good. You know, everybody's vernacular was at that level, so nobody would get, like, you know, slightly pissed off when somebody's saying code sucks. It'd be like, yeah, it sucks, but, you know, it does the job, and that's like our measure of that's good. Like, that's, if it does the job, it's like, yeah, it does the job. It's satisfactory. It's mediocre code, but it ships the game. So success is success. You need a new pair of pants. Yeah. I thought you got rid of all that during the Celtics game, man. So how it goes, though. So we got the rebound on there. So to give you some context, Lucas, I'm trying to come up with kind of some categories of missions, and then activities that we do in those missions, and then kind of modifiers that allow us to make different types of those activities. And then I want a list of cool moments to make sure that the missions highlight the fun things in the game. So right now I'm on the most beautiful code I have seen. The best code I have ever seen, I gotta say, is the Shantae Game Boy Advance code that I got right after college in an interview test. It was a take-home test, and basically they gave you this Game Boy Advance code that you could run on your computer. It was all in C, and you basically, what they said is make a movement controller for Shantae and make her run and jump around and use her abilities and all that. And just the way they had it all organized just made so much sense. I was like, fuck. I know how all of it works. It's all every single function did exactly what it was supposed to. And didn't have a bunch of shit in there, and it was just like, man, it just clicked. That's true. So what other really cool moments do we have? I mean, winning a match is cool, but it's not really the cool moment. The cool moment is like winning a close match. So let's see, winning a close match. I should probably try to bring in some of the other theories. I want um, epically fucking up and running into something and failing. So like the mushroom hall level is a great example of you run along, you got the ball, you just run into the fucking mushroom and you're just like, God damn it. So we definitely want to design some failure in here. I guess another cool moment is pissing off the bots and them having and them beating the shit out of you. That's actually pretty entertaining when it happens. Sometimes you're just like, oh god, these guys are pissed off. But it usually happens after you do something to them. Jumping for a spot. I mean, that's not like a fun failure, though. That's like, you're about to get some ice cream and somebody like runs up and instead of like pulling like the Turkish ice cream man prank on you that's entertaining, they instead just like smash the ice cream into your face and then say, like, it's just a prank, bro. Don't need to get upset. You spend so much more time actually programming. Yeah. Well, it's usually with programming stuff. Um, if you already know how to do it, it should pretty much be done. Tripping on a pebble. I'm not sure what you mean there. Do you mean like running really fast and then just getting like? I mean, it is kind of hilarious how violent it can be sometimes. Well, what I think Adam's getting at with the pop up and like be ready to hit and then get fucked up, I think the cool moment would be um, having a couple free seconds where you're like, all right, I got it. I just need to get this ball up into the goal in the Forest One level. And if you actually have like 5 seconds to do it and you screw it up, and then the bots come in and just beat the shit out of you, and yeah, so I think it would be um, failing to score when you should have had enough time to score. Hello, Indie Development Labs. Welcome. I'm just trying to come up with mission type stuff so I can make a whole bunch of missions. Getting the black screen again. You seem to have that quite a bit. Yeah, it's comforting to see how long the planning phase is. Well, it depends. I also, like, if I really have to knuckle down on something and write a whole bunch of code, it's not always the best thing to stream that. So. Oh no, you're right on Devil 23. Like I have systems to code for me, right? I use a lot of code generation stuff. I'm more thinking about the implications of the code changes. When it actually comes down to just coding a bunch, like I remember right out of college and during school, like I would be coding the whole time, and just massive amounts of code would, whatever. But I think you get smarter as you go along. As you get more familiar with it, you're like, I know exactly how to do this, and you just get it done. So we have the bots there, collecting things. We don't have it. What other exciting things happen during a match? I mean, there's a lot of that, where you're running, you get what you need to. I really like the fights around like Midnight Ridge with getting the ball in there. Yeah, getting a good turnaround, like a ball chase down. All right, Indie Development Labs, you're saying, what tips do you have for me in coding? What tools do you use? Well, Mr. Development Labs, it really depends on what you mean. Like the tools I use, hopefully, are just the best tools for the job that make sense to me. I'm not like, well, everybody should know C, and everybody should use Notepad, and compile in Borland and GCC or whatever. No, I don't give a shit. It really depends on what you want to do. So I think probably the biggest tip for coding is make sure you're enjoying it, because there's always more code to write and more systems to make better. And if you like improving it and you like what you're working with, that's probably what's most important rather than all the rest. You'd have to give me more information about like what you're trying to do. But like I use Visual Studio for C++ and everything like that. I use Eclipse for Java. For any scripting language, I pretty much just use Notepad++, just because whatever. And graphing, I usually use Visio, just because complex charts get complex fast. But it really depends. We're using Unreal 4 and C++, and I try to keep. I guess one of the big things is if you're making a game, it's really important to try to separate your core engine code from your gameplay code, because your gameplay code needs to be able to be trash without fucking up your core systems. So usually it's good to have a barrier there between your core systems and your gameplay code. And if that's a scripting language interface, such as all the gameplay code is in Lua or in Blueprints or something, JavaScript or whatever, and then your core engine code is in a different language like C++, that really helps contain the garbage. I'm not really seeing any other cool moments here. All right. So let's think about categories. So tutorial missions. Let's actually go over to our categories and let's do tutorial missions. Let's see. What do we want from here? Cool moments in tutorials. We want getting that first goal, getting a perfect shot. Split-second perfect navigation of a run. I think we want that wall jump. Collecting objects, pissing off bots. Epically fucking up, yeah. So let's see, what mission activities do we want? Lots of them. If you're asking what I'm doing right now is basically over the past week and a half or so, we've made a mission system for our game, and we want to make a whole bunch of missions in there. And I'm trying to... The goal is basically I need to make 100 missions, like basically today and tomorrow. And I want to make sure that the missions I make have themes that go through them, and that I don't like miss out on parts of the game. Also, I don't want to make a whole bunch of new systems in the game because I need to just kind of make the missions now. I can't just keep making extra shit. You know, it's kind of like if we're trying to cook food and we've already got our ingredients in the fridge, we can't go to the store again. So we got to cook for 50 people coming in the door. And what the hell are we going to do if the only ingredient we have is, you know, canned tuna? Got to make a lot of dishes out of canned tuna. All right. All right, why don't I just break down the actual missions that I want? So I'd want a mission... What are the tutorial missions? What are tutorial missions to begin with? Like, what are they supposed to accomplish? Because they're not supposed to be annoying or tedious or any of that shit. Goal. The tutorial missions, I guess... I don't even like calling them tutorial missions. The tutorial type missions teach the player basic game mechanics. No, they don't teach you anything. Tutorial missions create an environment in which the player can explore the game and discover its mechanics in an environment which isn't hostile to them. Does that make sense?